All right. Let's come into our yoga asana or yogic seat, whether that is easy pose for you or half lotus or some other seated position that supports a long spine. Lengthen up through the crown of your head, root down through the tailbone and sit bones into the earth. Roll the shoulders back and down so we begin with a nice wide open heart. And let's just take 3 breaths together to land here. Savoring that long, deep breath in that begins with an expanding belly, in through the nose, up through the rib cage, up into the chest, all the way to the collarbones. Pause and hold and enjoy that fullness, and then exhale, let it go. You can make a little noise with that decompressing exhale. And again, filling up belly, ribs, and chest. And see if you can invite in a little bit more breath, a few more sips. And exhale, release. I don't know what you meant by that, Mary. Can you center yourself? We're trying to center ourselves now. Okay. Oh, let's put you on mute. And we're going to take another deep breath in. This time, let's draw the shoulders up toward the ears. So we're going to get tight, tight, tight. Clench the fists, draw the elbows in toward the ribs, and get tight in your belly. So get a little bit of Uddiyana Bandha, abdominal lift coming, activating in your core. Get the Mula Bandha happening, so draw the pelvic floor up toward the navel, scrunch up the face, get tight in the jaw, tight around the eyes, tight around the brow, tight, 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 hold, 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 and then and just feel that sense of melting away of tension, melting away of anything in the mind or heart that needs to drizzle off of you, drain off of you like warm honey running down into the earth. And with your eyes open with a soft gaze, I would like to just bring your attention to a few different qualities that I'd like to invite us to focus on in our practice today. When we come to the mat, and ultimately bringing off the mat, we need to invite in and cultivate certain qualities. The first of those is presence. Being aware, being mindful, being in the here and now. If we don't have that, we have no practice at all. And that's true for any activity in our lives. So we need to cultivate that sense of mindfulness and presence in what we do, syncing up our movement, breath, and awareness. But we also need to bring to our practice a sense of motivation, what we could call self-discipline, or in Sanskrit there's a word tapas, which means the inner fire, or sometimes translated as austerities or self-discipline that we bring to our practice. That's kind of a, one of the ways it's been expressed is burning enthusiasm. And I like that. Burning enthusiasm or inner motivation for our practice that brings us onto the mat every day or however often you practice. Even when we might want to stay in bed, even when we might want to do something else, that's a little easier. That sense of inner purpose, we can call it purpose, that inner burning enthusiasm or tapas brings us to our mat. So we integrate that presence and that enthusiasm, and I'm putting my hands here on the solar plexus because that is the power center or the center of one's inner fire, that third chakra. So we activate that. But if we're just activating that presence and that inner fire, then sometimes we can move through our lives or in our practice like a bull in a china shop. So we need to temper it and soften it with the qualities of the heart, the qualities of self-love and compassion, connection with other beings, because we practice not only for ourselves, but for all beings. A sense of joy. So that is a wonderful tempering quality that we bring to our inner fire. So we cultivate the qualities of the mind, that sense of purpose or inner fire, and the heart. So let's begin by taking 3 breaths together to invoke those qualities. So long spine, rooting down, reaching up, rolling the shoulders back and down. Let's just begin to find some seated sun breaths. Inhale, reach up, reach through the right, reach through the left. Exhale, sweep wide and down. Just a few seated sun breaths to sync up movement, awareness, and breath. Long, slow, deep yogic breaths with the ujjayi sound. In and out through the nose, let the breath be slow and deep. And on the next in-breath, bring the palms together overhead at the top of the breath and draw down that sense of being fully awake and fully present, and bring the thumbs right to the third eye in the middle of the forehead. So we cultivate and invoke that quality of presence, mindfulness, being fully awake in the here and now. And then another deep breath, arms reach and rise. And gather in that quality of purpose or inner enthusiasm, burning enthusiasm or inner fire, and bring palm over palm right here to the solar plexus, your power center, your third chakra. So we can infuse our practice not only with that presence, but that burning enthusiasm and purpose. And again, another deep breath, arms reach and rise. And we bring the hands down together, gathering in that quality of love, that being in the heart, palm over palm. So with that presence, purpose, and love, let's take one more breath to bring that all together. Palms come together in prayer position, down the center line, return to the heart, let the thumbs rest on the heart. And let's seal that with those 3 intentions with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Eyes open with a soft gaze. Once again, arms reach and rise. Reach through the right, reach through the left, and then the right arm comes underneath the left in eagle arms. Find your own expression of eagle arms. Thumbs point toward you, and find some explorations here. Maybe some circles, lifting and lowering. Stay with long, slow, deep breaths, and send the breath into any tight or restricted places. Remembering that the enthusiasm for staying with it and the presence that we bring to it also needs to be tempered with love, with a sense of inner kindness toward ourselves and others. Exhale, release, unwind the arms and let the right arm rise to the sky. The left palm roots down, and find length and space through the right side of your body, and then take it into a side bend, reaching long and away, breathing into those right fingertips. As you reach over to the left, deepen it a little bit more and let the rib cage expand open on the right side. Another big breath in, and then exhale into a twist, lengthening up through the crown of your head. A twist to your right, look over your right shoulder. Inhale up to center. And then bring the left arm underneath. So I'm mirroring you here, and find those circles and explorations. Finding the places that you can breathe into. And your eagle arms don't need to look like mine. If your hands need to be separated, or even just want to do the self-hug pose, you can do that. Whatever gives you a nice opening behind the shoulder blades, stretch in the upper back and upper arms. Exploring the territory here. And then unwinding your arms and letting the left hand float to the sky. Right palm roots down, find length and space. See if you can do this without creating a restriction here in the shoulder. So keep the shoulder melting away from the ear on the left side. And then take it into your side bend. Milking that for a breath or two. Reaching long and away, enjoying that exploration. And then exhale into a twist to the left. Dropping shoulders down, elegantly lifting through the crown of the head, keeping the chin level or slightly tucked so the back of the neck stays long. And then inhale up to center. And palms come together and back to the heart, gathering in that presence, purpose, and love. Let's just take it into a little bit more of a dynamic flow with the twists. So inhale, arms reach up. Exhale, twist to your right. At the end of the exhale, taking that inhale brings you back to center, arms rise. Exhale, twist left. So just say as long as your exhale is, so you find your own rhythm and pace. Don't need to follow my pace. Let your own breath lead, twisting side to side. Ujjayi breath, being the music, being the soundtrack for your practice today. And coming back to center, once again, hands return to the heart. And just notice what's alive in you, just from that gentle seated warm-up. And then hands come down in front of you, roll over the knees, or any way that you can get into your table pose. And find your cat-cow. Exploring these two essential undulations of the spine, flexion and extension. And you can play with it any way that you want. So maybe coming up on fingertips to get a little more lift in your cat stretch. Drawing the nose toward the pubic bone a little bit more, spreading through between the shoulder blades. And in your cow tilt, maybe curling toes under to get a stretch in the bottom of the feet, maybe drawing shoulders back toward the hips a little bit more. Maybe lifting the chin a little more in that cow tilt. So you stretch and open through the throat chakra. And then bringing the spine to a neutral, comfortable neutral position, hands forward a few inches, find your circles. Hip circles to open and lubricate the hips. And as you continue each revolution, the circles get a little bit bigger, and maybe it'll bring you into a seal pose if you want to lift the feet and draw the heels close to the buttocks, bending elbows a little more, getting a little more beautiful opening and curve in the front body, and maybe sweeping right through child to get a stretch in the upper back. So find the depth of expression that feels good for you, and then you can take it around in the other direction. Just deepening our exploration of flexion and extension, forward bend and back bend. And then taking it into a full child's pose, walking the fingers forward, letting the sit bones sink back to the heels. Maybe you want to widen your knees a little bit and let the belly release down toward the earth, forehead down toward the earth. See what happens if you lower your elbows down in this so you can get a little more spread through the upper back. So rather than having the elbows up, floating up, see if you can lower them down and externally rotate your upper arms so that you get a nice widening between the shoulder blades. So you're gonna, right there. Inhale, let that inhale, draw the body back up into table, fingers spread wide, toes curl under, and press back to your downward facing dog. And take a little time to take your dog for a slow, mindful walk, sending the heart to the place between the feet, lifting the sacrum, tilting tailbone back, savoring and enjoying the lengthening in the back of each leg, pressing down and forward into the hands. Downward facing dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. And if it feels good, you can take it into plank on the inhale, arm bones stacked on top of one another, legs powered up, body in one long line, and sync that up with your breath. Exhale, down dog. Inhale, plank. And then maybe taking that into a full connecting vinyasa, inhaling into your plank, lowering down knees, chest, chin, and really take your time to make sure that you got that nice lift in the buttocks, toes curled under, hands under the shoulders. Inhale into cobra. Let's start actually here with a baby cobra. So press the pubic bone into the mat. Press all 10 toes into the mat. See if you can energize the legs. And the hands are just hovering here under the shoulders. So make sure that your hands aren't too far forward or too far back, just under the shoulders. But they're not actually doing any work. It's your back muscles that are doing the work. And you can actually release your hands and interlace them, either using a strap or keeping your hands separate if hands don't want to clasp. Reach, 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 shoulder blades toward one another. Heart forward, hands back. Legs active. And then if you want to take it right into the locust pose, send fire right out those toes and power up the legs, peel off the feet, the ankles, the shins, the thighs. And 3 deep breaths here. Can you keep those thighs floating off of the mat, maybe even just an inch or so? You're just balancing on your belly and on your pelvis. And when you're ready to release, soften the thighs down, the knees, tops of the feet. Just make a pillow with the hands, turn the cheek to one side so you can just let everything go. Feel the muscles in the low back and upper back soften. If you want to release a little more, you can bend the knees and take windshield wiper side to side. Feel the reverberation of that practice in your body. And melting the toes back into the mat. Slide the hands under the shoulders and take a cobra again, either a low cobra, just the hands there for balance, or press gently into the hands to get a deeper cobra. In either case, you're going to keep that pelvis connected, shoulders down and back, heart open. If you're coming into full cobra, maybe you want to lift the chin to get the throat open. Big breath. Exhale, release. And forehead comes down. And then press up through your table. Maybe take hat stretch as a complementary pose and take it into your downward facing dog. Or child if you prefer. Let's put it together in a flow. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Ashtanga Namaskar, 8-point pose. Inhale, Cobra, either low or full. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then from here, I'm going to invite you to bring the feet between the hands, which could be a slow walk or a quiet floating hop, and come into your forward bend. So into your forward fold here, let the head be loose. Stay nice and closely tucked between the torso and the legs. So you don't want to be hanging out like this. If that's happening, you want to bend your knees a little bit more and maybe take a block to support your hands. So nice and close, draw your nose toward your shins. Let the head hang down, find your yes and no and maybe. Enjoy the stretch in the backs of the legs. We can take it into a half lift, sliding the fingers up the shins. Lengthen out, feel the core engage, flat back, unshrug the shoulders, fan your sitting bones apart from one another like the peacock feathers displaying. Back of the neck is long here as you're looking down, and exhale, fold. Soften the knees and rise up like the sun. Whoops. Palms come together. And draw the hands down the center line of the body. I'm just going to adjust my screen right here. Take a moment to notice how you feel. Coming to standing in mountain, feet hip width apart. And let's reaffirm those qualities that we're cultivating today. So inhale, arms reach and rise, a sun breath, and gather in between the hands that sense of presence. Bring the thumbs to the third eye. May I be awake and alert and fully alive today. Inhale, arms reach and rise. Palm over palm as you draw down to the solar plexus. May I cultivate that burning enthusiasm, that inner fire that keeps me on purpose. And one more deep breath. Reach and rise. And the palms come together down to the heart. You can either have hands in prayer or palm over palm. And may everything that I do in word, thought, and action be infused with love. Arms reach and rise one more time. Not interlace, but wrap your right fingers around your left wrist. We'll take it into a standing half moon, leaning your left hip out to the left. Play with your center of gravity here. More of your weight's going to be on the left foot as you explore how deeply you can come into the side bend. Inhale up to center. Exhale, release. Other side. Left fingers grab right wrists. There's just lots of different hand positions that we can use for this half moon bend. Opening and expanding through the side body. Exhale. And inhale up to center, and float the arms down. We'll take that one more time each side. This time, if you want to take the super duper side bend, you could either stay just like what we just did, or you can take your left foot and draw it behind the right, come onto the outer edge. That's at the outer edge. You want to bring it as far over to the right as you can. You're on the outside edge of your foot. You're going to bend your right knee. So you're going to really juice up. You're going to feel it a little more in the side of the leg and the hip here. On the left side. The side bend on steroids, and then release your hands. Oh yeah, can you feel that, that prana streaming in? And we'll take it on the other side. So grab right wrist, bring right foot behind the left leg, as far over to the left as you can on the outer edge of your foot. And really juice up that curve, bend the left knee a little bit more. And really feel the ribs light up and expand open. Send breath there. And release. And shake out the arms. Roll the shoulders. What you're carrying around today, let it roll off your shoulders. Make a little noise with that exhale. You can roll forward. Explore that. Yoga isn't just, a lot of people think that you're a better yogi if you can go into a really super bendy, deep pose. But really, we get more benefit out of just making sure that every day we explore our range of motion, whatever that is for you. Range of motion exploration, really important. Interlace fingers behind you, yoga mudra. So you're going to be like this. And yeah, use a strap if you need to. Squeeze shoulder blades toward the center, heart blossoms open. Just take a moment to breathe in and out of that heart center, the anahata, heart chakra. Perhaps bringing to mind a beautiful spring flower. The lilacs are in bloom now. And taking a deep breath in like you're inhaling the fragrance of those lilacs. Or any flower that speaks to you right now, letting your heart be that, wide open and fragrant. Big breath in, and then exhale, keeping the knees very generously bent. The front of the torso and the thighs stay connected. Hands reach up overhead. Head releases, so let the neck be loose. And let the hands reach up. Maybe you want to take a temple pose with the pointer fingers to the sky. However you do this, reach the hands over the head toward the front of your space. And you can even play with the strap by widening the strap a little bit and get a little more range of motion that way. Yeah. And then release the arms and let the hands hang down. Bend the knees and roll up one vertebra at a time to come to standing. Stack bone on bone, shoulders down and back. Arms rise and palms return to the heart. Gathering in that presence, purpose, and love. We're going to take it into a vinyasa flow, picking up the pace a bit. So if you want to have your blocks available, you might want to have them there if you use them. Mountain pose, feet hip width apart, shoulders stacked over hips. Take a deep breath. Reach and rise, arch back, heart, hands, gaze skyward. Exhale, slow dive, bow to the earth. Take a half lift, flat back, long from tail to crown. Exhale and fold. Step back, right foot, low lunge as right knee lowers down. And root the pelvis down into the earth, melt the shoulders away from the ears. Find your steady and comfortable low lunge. As the inner thighs come toward the center, hands reach skyward. All right, and feel that abdominal activity, the navel lift supporting you here. Exhale, hands meet behind you. Inhale, wide open heart, blossoming open. Big breath in, exhale, release, frame that left foot and step back into plank. Take it from here through your connecting vinyasa. Exhaling, knees, chest, chin. Inhaling, back bend of your choice. Low cobra or full, or maybe sphinx if you prefer that. Exhale, downward facing dog. And then stepping through with the right foot. And if you'd like, you can take it into a three-legged dog on the way and float it through, lowering the left knee down. And slide that left knee back so you get a nice lengthening in the front of the hip flexor. Knee over ankle on the front leg, soften shoulders, lengthen spine. Inner thighs come toward one another and sweep up. And notice what's going on in the shoulders. Is there any scrunchasana happening? Maybe you just want to widen your hands a little in that celebrative warrior pose. Maybe you just need to melt the shoulders down and away. Exhale, hands meet behind you. Inhale, blossom open the heart. Exhale, release, frame that front foot, step up. On an inhale, take a half lift. Long from root to crown, exhale, fold. And soften the knees. And release the hands, rising sun. So you're going to momentarily sit down in your chair and sweep up, gathering in. Hands to heart. Take a long, deep breath in and out. Are you hot? You need a fan on? I think a little fan might be nice for a little air circulation here. Okay. All right, round 2, we're going to step back with the left foot, and we're going to take it into a high lunge this time. Inhale, reach through the right, reach through the left, arch back, heart, hands, gaze to the sun. Exhale, bow to the earth. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold, framing the feet with your fingertips. Left foot steps back. High lunge. Maybe you want to use your blocks here for support so you can relax through the upper back. Long line. Noticing if that back knee is sagging and see if you can lift that knee crease to the sky. Press out through the back heel. We'll take it from this lunge into a revolved side angle. So left palm comes down under the shoulder, right hand rises to the sky, take it into that twist. Long and wide twist, exhale, release. Step it back and flow it through. Knees, chest, chin. Cobra and downward facing dog. When you come into your downward facing dog, see if you can play a little bit with the low belly toward the thighs. So you can get a little bit more of that pelvic tilt. Then we're going to step through the left foot. If you took three-legged dog, you can take it here, lifting it high, but just keep pressing down and forward into the hands so the shoulders don't come forward. Float it through, high lunge. Nice and quiet. If you need to take several steps to get there, that's fine. Landing in low lunge and then lifting, that's fine. And soften the shoulders, maybe using your blocks to be able to support yourself here and release. Power up the back leg, let the pelvis release. So notice if you're doing your lunge up like this and you want to have an unbroken diagonal from your head to your back heel. And then take it into, on the next in-breath, a revolved side angle turning left, long and wide. Big breath and release. Step up, half lift, flat back, long spine, exhale, release. Soften the knees, arms reach and rise, palms come together and float and down to the heart. Big breath in and release. We're going to take it into a standing warrior pose. Inhale, arms rise. Heart, hands, gaze skyward. Exhale, deep dive. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, fold. This time, bend the knees, and just as we did that little hop, we had the option to do that little hop forward. I'm going to give you that option to take that little hop back into plank. So either step back, if that serves you better to take it slow, or if you can, bend the knees and land with a firm core in one long line, take it through the vinyasa. Either knees, chest, chin, or if you're ready for chaturanga, to upward facing dog, you can take that. Upward facing dog straightens the arms and lifts the legs and pelvis. You roll over the toes to come to your down dog. We're going to step it through into a high lunge on the right side. So give it whatever flair you'd like here. Three-legged dog, maybe kick-asana. And step it through. You're on the ball of your back foot and you're going to rise right up into your warrior one. So take your time to get there. Balancing warrior one, hips squared toward the front, hands to the sky. In your warrior, we bring in those qualities of presence and reaching up, exhale, purpose. That's really what the warrior pose is about, activating that third chakra, sense of purpose, passion, determination, direction. And of course, we don't want to be that bull in the china shop, so you also cultivate that quality of love, palm over palm at the heart. All right. And then hands back behind you. Once again, open the heart. And if you want to play with arching back, a little bit more balance challenge here. This is optional. Big breath in and release. Hands frame that front foot. Step back and flow it through. Maybe you want to take that same chaturanga up dog vinyasa. Maybe you want to take it more gently. Maybe you want a moment in child, but we'll meet in down dog. Find your breath, big breath in, and then release. Once you come to your downward facing dog, we're going to step through with left foot. So sweep up. If you did a three-legged dog, if you kicked butt, whatever you did on the other side, quietly float that left foot through. Once you've got your steadiness here, you're squaring your hips and shoulders to the front, float up with grace, power and grace. Those are the warrior qualities, power and grace. And once again, charging our practice with presence, with purpose. Hands at the solar plexus, your power center, and with love. I feel the heat building in here now. Interlace fingers, open the heart, arch back if you played with that balance challenge. And release. Hands come down, step up, half lift, flat back, and fold. Now we're going to take it into Utkatasana chair pose. So bend the knees, sit down in your chair, and from here, here's where we really need to cultivate that sense of presence. Sense of purpose, that burning enthusiasm. Can you feel that burning enthusiasm in your body? Maybe in your legs? And that love. See if you can invite a little softness, a little kindness, a little sense of ease and joy, playfulness, not taking any of this too seriously, and then releasing. Reaching long and extended mountain. And then palms come together, return to the heart. Just feel what's alive in you. All right, give yourself a little shakeout. How are you all doing at home? Wonderful. Let's check the time. Okay. So let's take it into, just want to do a little bit of a wide leg stance here. I'm going to take it from heel to heel, facing the long end of your mat, about as wide as the length of one of your legs. Your toes are turned out 45 degrees. We're going to open wide in the five-pointed star. I like to think of this, we do this as a flow with the goddess pose. So I like to think of this pose as a gesture of the goddess embracing the world and the goddess embracing us. Heart as wide as the world, reaching out to the horizons through your fingertips, up to infinity of the heavens through the crown of your head, down to the earth, into the center of the earth with your tailbone. So get bigger than your body here. Energetically feel that who you are, your being expanding beyond this body. It is said that we all often mistakenly think that we live in the universe, but actually the great yogis tell us that the universe dwells within us. So when we say I am, it actually encompasses the totality of all creation, that I. Ponder that one. Inhale, as wide as the world, embracing the universe. Exhale, come into your goddess. So the outer edges of the thighs are going to draw back behind you. You're going to feel that stretch in the inner thighs. Elbows, shoulder height, draw them back a little bit so you have a nice wide open heart. Inhale, opening. So we're going to take a little pulse with breath here. Embracing the world and landing in your goddess. Try to bring those thighs as close to parallel as you can. Beautiful. And when you land in goddess, you want to try to have your back flat. I'm going to just turn sideways so you can see at home. So you don't want to be sticking your butt back and curving your spine. You want to have a flat, as if your back is leaning against the wall. Nice. Good, Susan. Okay. Open wide. On the inhale, exhale, deepen into your powerful goddess. The goddess represents the creative power of the universe. Everything that comes into form, everything in nature that exists, everything that humans create is because of the Shakti power, the energy of creation. So she represents that. And then let's just hang out here in the goddess for a few breaths. And the goddess also embodies those qualities of presence, purpose, and love. Feel those goddess qualities alive in you. And then open wide, embracing the world. Pivot on the heels so the toes point straight ahead and the outer edges of your feet line up with the outer edges of your mat. And take it into a half forward bend, airplane arms. Feel the legs power up. You're going to press firmly into the outer edges of your feet. You're going to feel the backs of the legs activate and light up here. Long, flat back. Wide open arms. If you need to support yourself on your thighs, you can press into your thighs, and that will help you lengthen out through your spine. Beautiful. And when you're ready, you can come into a full forward bend. Taking it into Prasarita Padottanasana. And take a moment to play here. Maybe you want to walk the hands forward into a wide leg down dog. Reaching sit bones back and hands forward. Heart melts down to that center place between the feet. Maybe you want to take it into a twist, if that feels good. One hand down, one hand up, keeping the sacrum flat. Maybe you want to take it into playing with a side lunge. You can support yourself with your hands on the floor or hands on a block here to protect your knees. So play with however your body wants to move in this wide leg forward bend. Maybe you even want to take it into a lizard lunge here with hands under the shoulders, just for a moment to play with that nice deep hip stretch. Just a brief moment to explore here. And then once you come back to center, from here, pivot on the heels, toes turn out 45 degrees, bend the knees, and we're going to come up into a soft, dancey goddess. Take a moment to just let your goddess move in any fluid way that she wants to move. And then opening as wide as the world, palms together, return to the heart. Heel, toe, the feet to hip width apart. And notice what's alive in you. We're going to take a hip opener now and balance pose together, doing the flying pigeon or balancing pigeon. All right. So here you may want to be on your mat or on a firmer surface of the floor, always starting with mountain. And then lifting one leg, you can start with crane, and some of you might find that having a fingertip against the wall is going to give you the support you need. So a couple of options here. You can either just stay in crane if that's what you are needing today, but if you can take it into a figure four, making sure that you're meeting your standing leg thigh above the ankle, not on the ankle because you don't want to sickle the foot. And maybe your figure four is going to be high up here. You can either bring hands together, or if you have a fingertip against the wall, you're making the sound of one hand clapping. And maybe just finding a slow pulse here, so you feel that glute stretch and that hip opener here. Just playing with that. Maybe taking it into holding for a few breaths, really externally rotating that lifted knee. And your standing leg is kind of in a chair pose. You got it. Beautiful. And those of you who want to take it a little deeper in the spirit of play can fold over your figure four legs, straightening but not locking the knee of your standing leg. Folding nice and close, bringing your torso close to your figure four legs, knee close to the shin, and either staying here or maybe bring one hand behind the calf
of the standing leg, and maybe both hands if you really want to play with balance, if that's available to you. And then transitioning back into your balancing pigeon, opening your wings to transition through crane, and then taking it into both feet on the earth. So that's the exploration. I'm going to give you a moment to play with that on each side. I'll do mine on the other side here. So crane is a nice way to kind of get centered in the balance, focusing your gaze on your drishti point, wherever you, the floor a few feet in front of you. Might need to use the opposite hand to find that leg position. Palms together, and then come into that nice squat. Maybe a few pulses to start. Inhaling as you lift, exhaling as you deepen, and then find the depth that you want to stay and explore and play. So in any of these poses, we can activate those three qualities. You need to stay present, you need to stay aware and awake to all the sensations, all of the subtle ways that energy is moving in you, how the muscles are firing. You need to invoke that inner enthusiasm for staying with stuff that's challenging, and you need to temper it with that quality of self-love and inner kindness and softness. And joy, playfulness and joy is also the heart quality. If you want to fold over the leg, optional, take this exploration, maybe one hand or both hands behind the calf, saying, wow, no hands. When you're ready, transitioning back into your balancing pigeon, opening into your crane, and taking in for a landing. So take your time. I'll give you another moment to finish that exploration. And if you're already finished, just take a moment to find any wiggles and waggles that feel good here. Yeah. Beautiful. When you feel complete, I invite you to come down onto your mat to prepare for camel pose. So we're going to be on the knees, shoulders stacked over hips. And some of you might want to find, if you're not comfortable kneeling, you might want to put a blanket underneath your knees or double over your mat so you have a little more padding. And I'm going to turn this way so you can see. Most of you have practiced this with me before. So camel could be either just hands framing the sacrum and squeezing the shoulder blades toward one another so the elbows go straight back, lifting the lower ribs away from the hips so you get that lift, and then arch back without letting the hips come back. So you do not want to do this when you come into your camel. You want to keep your hips stacked over the knees so the thigh bones stay straight up and down. Lifting the chin is optional. If that's not comfortable for your neck, you can keep it the chin level and let it just be in middle and upper back bend. And then coming out of that, you can do that a few times as a preparation. And then when you're ready to take it into the full expression, you can either use blocks beside you, one hand at a time, coming to the blocks beside you, and imagining that string lifting your heart to the sky, or the block can be between the thighs. This is one of these poses that I always feel a little uncomfortable teaching online because I really like to see how people are doing it, because you really want to make sure that you're safe in doing this. So err on the side of what's a little bit, feels a little more doable. Don't take it to something that perhaps you've never done before. Take it even to the most gentle expression here. For those of you who are a little more experienced and more flexible, either toes curled under, one heel at a time to lift the heels here, open the throat, or tops of feet down for full expression of this pose, pressing the hip pointers forward, opening the heart, imagining a string lifting your heart to the sky. You can open the throat chakra by taking a deep breath in, stick out your tongue and go, ah.
Don't need to hold this very long. And one hand and then the other to the low back till you're coming upright, and let the head come up last. So take a moment to feel complete with your camel Ustrasana pose. How did that feel for you, Susan? Good. Okay. Yeah. It's not. Some of us do not have a whole lot of flexibility to go into a really deep camel, but you just take it to the level that your body says yes to, and you still get plenty of benefit, and you're inviting lots of prana in. You're inviting not just a back bend, but a heart opening, and the whole front of the belly expands, and it also massages the internal organs here. So there's a lot that's happening that you might not be aware of. Now we'll take the complementary pose, which is the rabbit. So coming into a child's pose, now we're going to come into a deep flexion of the spine. But this child's pose, you're going to have your inner thighs together. So you don't want your knees wide. You want to bring the inner thighs together. So there's a little triangle between the knees in the front. And bring your forehead down to the mat. Let your hands reach back behind you, palms up. So just resting the backs of the hands on the mat. So your forehead is down on the mat. And that's fine to use a block if you need to. And then, what you can do, if your head doesn't want to reach all the way down, I recommend actually just taking a blanket there, because it'll be more comfortable when you come up into the full expression of rabbit, which is to reach your hands up and around behind your Achilles tendon. Grab the inner ankle so your palms face that pointy inner ankle bone at the bottom of the leg, and then the backs of the hands, the knuckles face toward one another. Lift the hips and pull on the ankles so the arms are straight and they're pulling, and you're lifting your low back to the sky, and you're rolling onto the crown of your head, and tuck the nose a little closer to that triangle between the knees, which goes away when you lift your hips, but toward that space between the knees. So lift and pull, lift and pull. You're going to feel a nice flexion, creating space between the vertebrae after you did all that compression the other way. Lift and pull. So you're resisting against yourself here. Try to see if you can get your hips over your knees. Breathe into that. You're going to feel a nice expansion in the back body, and then release. And just come into child's pose, any comfortable child here. And then rising back up into table, take any wiggles and waggles that feel good here, any movements of the spine that unkink and reset. Okay. And I'm going to invite you to come onto your back. Hug the knees into the chest. Maybe rock side to side, giving yourself a little spinal massage. And let's take a minute or so of inversion. Anyone that feels good to you, either legs up in the air. So since we're just doing a minute, you might not want to do legs up the wall unless you're going to stay there for the remainder of the class. Or you might want to take it into your plow and shoulder stand sequence. Or if headstand is a part of your practice, you can take a moment of that. Maybe part of your sequence will be bringing it right into bridge for another back bend and front body stretch. Yeah. Anything that just gets the lower extremities higher than the heart and the head. Beautiful. Bring the feet toward me a little bit. And you can practice pointing and flexing, just getting some energy from the feet. Flow down the legs.
And one thing you can do if you're up in a shoulder stand or a headstand is play with bound angle, soles of the feet together. Get another open hip experience, or maybe wide feet nice and wide. So you can, explore that, get a little more inner thigh stretch, hip rotation open. And then bringing the legs back together, find your transition back onto your back, either rolling down through plow or any way, or maybe coming into bridge and then lowering down. And one more time, hug the thighs in toward the chest. Maybe you want to take that into happy baby, which is a nice way to release if you've been doing any bridge. Press the sacrum down, draw the feet down so that the knees come down on either side of the rib cage. And your legs want to make that 90-degree angle shape. And then taking it into a final closing twist. That could be knees together, revolved abdomen pose, knees in an L shape, staying in line with the hips, or it could be one leg straight, one knee bent like a twisted tree, or maybe twisted root, wrapping the legs in eagle legs. In either case, you want your head to turn in the opposite direction that your knees go, and you want both shoulders to soften down into the mat. Yeah. 3 long, deep breaths on each side of your twist. When you're ready, if you haven't already switched your reclining twist to the other side, this would be a good time to do that. And when you're ready, find your way into a comfortable, easeful Shavasana. Letting the back body soften into the earth beneath you. Letting the breath find its own natural rhythm. I'm going to just lift your legs for a moment. You can just let them be a sack of potatoes. I'm just going to help. Just let everything go. People really enjoy this low back release here. And just let the legs be really heavy. Don't help me. Yeah, there you go. All right. And just allowing all of the muscles to soften, let go and release. Noticing the natural rhythm of your breathing. Letting the eyes gently close. And I'll offer this
this chant, beautiful yogic chant, which basically is praising the divinity around us and within us. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram, Ram Ram. 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 Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jai Jai Ram, Shri Ram Jai Ram Jai Jai Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram, Ram Ram. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Sita Ram, Ram Ram. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Bring some movement to the fingers and the toes. And find any small movements at first, and then gradually let the movements get bigger. And when you're ready, you can either hug your knees in for another embrace, or maybe reach your hands back behind you, your toes down away from you, to take the body into a long stretch with a big breath. And draw the body onto the side into your fetal position, the primal yoga pose. And take your time with another breath there to transition to your yogic seat. Returning full circle to where we started in our steady and comfortable yoga asana. Whatever we cultivate on the mat is for us to bring into our lives. So as we bring our practice off of the mat and into life, May we bring those 3 yogic qualities into everything that we do, in all of our words, thoughts, and actions. So taking a deep breath in, let the arms reach and rise, palms come together. Once again, finding that mudra of presence with the thumbs resting on the third eye. Finding presence in all of our relationships, all of our work, all of the tasks, the big important tasks and the little simple, what's seemingly mundane tasks, infusing them all with presence, being fully awake. Another deep breath in, big breath in, and draw the hands down to the solar plexus, bringing that sense of purpose, enthusiasm, positive motivation into our practice, that steadily burning inner fire that guides us, that directs us. And bringing it all together in the spirit of love. Big breath in, hands return to the heart, palm over palm, infusing our practice with love, joy, compassion, and kindness toward ourselves and others, in word, thought, and action. And let's take another deep breath in and bring that all together with the sound of Om. Namaste. We'll do 10 minutes of seated meditation for those of you who have the time and attention to stay. So if you're staying for meditation, you can just stay. Otherwise, I'll say namaste and you can slip out. Those same qualities that we cultivated in our asana practice of presence, sense of purpose, and love, we bring also into the subtler practices of meditation. So if you can begin, and I'm going to set the timer here for 10 minutes, finding your steady and comfortable yogic seat. Susan, are you comfortable in that, with that under your hips? Okay, beautiful. So take a moment to prep your meditation cushion. And bringing those same qualities into your yogic seat. So we cultivate presence by just noticing the qualities of the body. Noticing how the shoulders are placed over the hips, whether there's any shlumpasana going on or whether there's any leaning in one direction or the other. So we notice the quality of how the spine is stacked. Notice the quality of the muscles in the face, whether there's any insidious tension being held. Basically taking a moment to do a body scan as you enter into your yogic seat. And that invites in that quality of presence. Just noticing, just being aware of what's alive in you, without judging or even trying to change anything. The very quality, the very act of noticing often just brings a natural release of places that we're holding tension, or places that we're not in alignment. We can just gently self-correct. Starting with that quality of presence as we scan the body. And also bringing that quality of presence into noticing what's in your field of awareness. Are there sounds wafting through your environment? Are there distant sounds or sounds near you. Noticing the quality of sensation, perhaps noticing if there's coolness or warmth or the quality of the surface that you're sitting on, without getting into any story around it or how it should be different. Just noticing what is, presence. Noticing if there's any other sensory awareness that comes into your field of noticing, as taste or smell. If your eyes are closed, maybe you'll just notice whether there's any light behind your eyes or whether it's dark. So just bringing that sense of the tuning into the senses. Cultivating, bringing into that a gentle quality of purpose, or tapas, that fire of enthusiasm. Not in a fierce way, just in a way that brings aliveness, and a little motivation into your practice. Maybe that'll invite you to lengthen up a little more through your spine, to bring a little bit more stability. You find that balance of steadiness and ease. We could also say that that quality of purpose is just simply commitment. Commitment to stay present in the stillness, through whatever arises in the mind or body or heart. And then bringing that quality of inner kindness, the intention that we enter into meditation practice with a quality of self-love. Inviting in those qualities of presence, purpose, and love. As you just allow the breath to move gently in and out. And let the awareness, with spaciousness and ease, rest on the movement of the breath. letting the eyes open with a soft gaze. Hands can come together. Namaste.